I'm going to show you two common ways of creating a circle inside of InDesign. This design dictates that the page numbering is on the center outer edges of the pages. The numbers are there, but they're white, so we need to make them visible. And to do that, I'm going to head to the master page called B Numbering, double left click there, press W to reveal grids and guides, and then pick up my zoom tool and zoom over to that region where I can see the hashtag tells me that this is a text frame in here. I'm going to switch to my ellipse tool by clicking and holding down on whichever tool is visible in the tools panel, and then click on ellipse tool. Before we do any drawing, we need to make sure that we're setting the fill and stroke correctly. So scroll down the list in here. It needs to be red light. Hit return. We don't need a stroke on this, so none's always at the top of the list. Click on none and hit return. Now, if you're fairly steady with using the mouse and you feel confident in just clicking and holding down the mouse and dragging, you can. You can drag out, you can draw an elliptical shape as the tool suggests. Now, we need a perfect circle with the left mouse button still held down. You can hold down the shift key and that will constrain it to make sure that the width and height are exactly the same. Notice as well, next to the cursor, there is what's called a widget, and that tells you the width and height. And if I drag out a little bit more, then there, 9mm is what we need for the size of this circle. Let go of the mouse and then release the shift key on the keyboard. I'll switch to my selection tool, drag that circle across so the left edge of that circle is aligned to the red bleed line on the outside of the page, and then go up to the top to the control panel, make sure that my aligning mode is set to align to page, and then I can choose to align vertical centers, it's called. So this makes sure that from a vertical direction, that circle is exactly in the middle of my page, just where the number is. So with that done, well, I can then grab my scroll bar, scroll all the way across towards the right-hand side. And this time, if I click on that tool to make it active once more, we don't need to change the properties because it's going to be exactly the same. I can hover my cursor over the image window, left click and let go, and that calls up the shapes dialog box where you can put in specific value. So if you don't feel like you want to fiddle around dragging it on screen to get the right size, simple left click and let go of the mouse will take you to the shapes dialog box. It will match the last settings you used. For us, it's 9mm, so life's much simpler. You can click OK and it creates that. Of course, if you need to change the size at any time, you can go back to the selection tool, you can grab the handles around the outside, you can click and drag and change the width and height. Note that they are not linked together, so you can change that from being a circle to an elliptical shape. If you do find that's the case, you can always go up to the control panel and it shows you the width and the height. And in here now, they are linked together, those in the control panel. So notice that even if those two values are linked together, when you drag and change the size of your shape on screen with the cursor, it will ignore the fact that in the control panel at the top, they are linked together, the width and height. So in my case, I'm going to turn off the link, swipe over that, type in 9, hit the tab key, type in 9 once more, and hit return. And then you can link them back up again. And I'll click and drag that over. So the right edge this time is level with the bleed line. And again, I'll go back up to the same alignment button, align vertical centers, and then click away. And that's two methods for creating an ellipse inside of InDesign. The same techniques follow for any shape tool inside of InDesign. A left click and drag, or you can left click to get the tools dialog box.